Hanny Time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Sandegriff.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to Hanny Time 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Sandegriff, Mario Jerez, Taylor Sharp, Shay Dixon with us here in about 15 minutes. Good time to do some recruiting inventory, some program inventory with Shay. I might ask him, in addition to the LSU stuff, how A&M's recruiting is going. There's a few things going on over there. Might have an opinion on that. The five-star brigade is running into a few issues. And get to Shay a little bit later in the show about that. Dwayne Colucci at the bottom of the hour. Big weekend, obviously, for the books with the NFL, with some of the massive favorites going down. If you didn't get sunk in a survivor pool or on a money line parlay with the Packers or the Buccaneers on Sunday, maybe you waited until last night to get sunk with the Patriots, who now have a full-blown quarterback controversy. Of course, nobody should tell the coach that. Hey, you know what would be a good thing to have on tonight? A World Series game. Wouldn't that be a good idea? I mean, we're gonna watch the Pels and the Mavs. You know, the Pels are shorthanded. Everybody's all three of the players in question are out tonight. Brandon Ingram is out. Zion Williamson is out. Herb Jones is out. So they got to play Luka and the Mavs without those three. But it would have been nice to have a World Series game tonight. You know, where there's not like football on against it. You know when it'd been another time to have a World Series game? Tomorrow night, when there's also nothing. Okay, you know it's a bad time to have a World Series game? On Saturday, when there's like a whole slate of college football. You know it's another bad time to have a World Series game if you have a choice? Next Monday Night Football. You know, let's try to create as much ratings conflict as we can instead of having a whole window to ourselves. Look, this stuff ain't hard, no. Okay, if you're baseball, you want to steer around football as much as you can, because the regular football games a lot of time outdraw the postseason baseball anyway. So when LSU has an off week, it's a self-scout week, it's a recharge your batteries week. It's one of those things where fall weddings, okay. If you're brazen enough to do that and expect people to come, if you have a fall wedding, you say, hey, look, I'm going to have it in the off week. Okay, well, that's fine, but understand that your anniversary for the rest of your life is going to land on the Auburn game and you're not going to be able to go anywhere. So, look, those things always happen during the off week. Here's the other thing that fans love to do during their off week. They love to revel in the misery of their opponents. Anybody that's doing bad, get an off week, and their opponents will start taking shots. Luckily for LSU fans looking for something to do this week, I present Texas A&M, because they're just serving up softballs to continue in the misery. This started after the game on Saturday, where they lost to South Carolina. And I was really surprised to hear Jimbo Fisher utter, and I'm paraphrasing here, look, it's not like we got blown out of the stadium. No, you're not supposed to get blown out of the stadium by South Carolina. You're sort of supposed to win those games. That flies when you go to Tuscaloosa and you try to run, hey, we had a backup quarterback. Well, he used to be your starter, but now okay, I got it. You lost by one play to Alabama. All right. You can maybe float that. You might be able to get that one by. You can't run that after South Carolina. I don't care who's hurt. I don't care what the calls were in the game. I don't care what happened, the weather, nothing. You're not supposed, with your budget, you're not supposed to lose to South Carolina. You're certainly not supposed to be happy that you didn't get blown out. Then, yesterday, Jimbo Fisher announced that there's 3 offensive linemen they're going to miss the rest of the season. 2 of them have been part-time, mostly starters, and the other one's kind of been a part-time starter. But that wasn't anything compared to what would come out later last night. Billy Lucci, who we is on all the shows here, is as plugged into Texas A&M as anybody in the media. And he tweeted this out late last night, says that 3 and perhaps 4 A&M players have been suspended indefinitely. The suspended players, this is out of multiple reports now. The suspended players are freshman offensive lineman P.J. Williams, 4-star. Freshman cornerback Denver Harris, 5-star. Freshman wide receiver Chris Marshall, 5-star. Redshirt freshman running back L.J. Johnson, 4-star. The first 3, the first 2, Marshall and Harris, this is the second suspension for both of them. They were suspended for the Miami game in week 3. You remember what for? You remember, Mario? You remember?
Violation of team rules.
Violation of team rules. Yes. The old standby, violation of team rules. Violation of team rules is a wonderful catch-all, and it's code. All right, anybody who's followed this stuff for any amount of time, violation of team rules. There's 3 things generally that'll get a college football player suspended. Number 1, if you break the law. You break the law in some kind of way, it's going to be publicized, arrest reports or public record. Those things are very easy to find out. You don't even have to dig. It's a call to a public relations guy at the sheriff's office. Did this player get arrested? Yes, he did. Okay, now you know. The second thing is grades. And grades are almost always a multiple game suspension, sometimes the entire season, sometimes more than a season. Seen that happen here. Also fairly easy, even with the Buckley Amendment, to find, okay, you know what, generally those things happen over multiple games, and it's pretty easy to find out. If it's not one of those 2 things, they probably failed a test and not a math test, all right? So when you have that, plus other reports that are starting to come out now that, yes, indeed, you have these suspensions at Texas A&M from all of the highly touted members of the class of 22, the 5-star brigade. We've been told how long this is the class that takes Texas A&M to the next level. This is the class that's going to put Jimbo Fisher over the top. Okay, fine, but next year's year 6, so there were 5 other classes before this one that he had to put him over the top, but I digress. It was interesting to me that this broke in as many different places as it did. Lucci had it first, but now the details of the story are starting to be embellished, promoted a little bit, if you will. I've already seen some tweets put up and taken down. I was just mentioning it because it's starting to sound a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Auburn-esque. Auburn-esque. When you want to get rid of your coach and it's too expensive to buy him out, you start looking for things to get rid of him for cause. And there's 86 million reasons why A&M, if they indeed want to get rid of Jimbo Fisher, and I've been asked this question, 50 times, can A&M really afford to pay out $86 million, which after you pay out the rest of the staff and all the other expenses to bring in another coach, you're talking about $100 million bucks, pronto, write the check. I mean, even billionaires have their limits, right? When the stories start to break like this is what's known in the business of coaching as a tidal wave, all right? And they're almost impossible to turn around. Once the momentum of bad play plus bad luck plus, let's call it, extracurricular activity in the program, once those things start to snowball, it takes a hell of a thing to turn them back around. I mean, I very, very seldom do you see, man, that coach went from on the hot seat to, nope, everything's fixed. Everything almost never gets fixed. Sometimes coaches hang on a little bit longer. But this is going to really test the model because there's so much money here. And even if these players were suspended for failing a test, that's not anything to do with cause for the coach. That's not cause to fire him for, violation of his contract. Kid breaks a rule, you hand out the discipline. Technically, by the letter of the law here, Jimbo has done everything that he's supposed to do per his contract. You have to enforce university policy. However, it's starting to get louder over there. It's starting to get worse, and when the program, when it starts to snowball a little bit like that, it's really, really tough to turn things around. I would tell you that if the transfer portal rules had not changed to move the window after the season, you might probably have seen some movement there already. But for the moment, they're not. Ole Miss goes to College Station this weekend. The other thing I got to do is I got to quit saying something that I've been saying for a long time, which is that these suspensions never happen anywhere but at LSU. I got to quit saying that. How many times in the last, 10 years, you do, violation of team rules. Okay. More violations of team rules. Man, there's a lot of team rules here. Are the team rules here a little bit stricter than they are at other places in the league? Particularly one place, 2 states over. I don't know. Maybe they are. But for years, man, you don't ever see these kind of suspensions in season. You don't see them for important players at other schools. Now you do. I gotta quit saying that. By the way, hadn't seen any players suspended for violation of team rules at LSU this year. Did I miss one? I think I got it. There are any number of LSU people that take great delight in anything that provides misery for Texas A&M. Me, I'm a neutral broker, okay? With the rest of the schools in the SEC, listen, I could take it or leave it. I reserve my extreme dislike for one program and one program only. We know. But this is interesting to watch, don't you think? $86 million. Maybe they will understand at some point that long extensions maybe not necessary. You can say that in a lot of places, not just Texas A&M. Shay Dixon, when we come back, this is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Big event coming up today at Big Mike's. It's the Trunk or Treat event that they do out in the parking lot. It is tailgating meets trick-or-treating, and you can bring the kids out starting at 7 o'clock tonight. It's a free event. There's going to be candy. There's going to be prizes. There's going to be music, so you can bring the whole family out to Big Mike's, 123 Aspen Square in Denham Springs. Then coming up this weekend, the Halloween party, Clarence the Entertainer is there. There's a costume contest that's on Saturday. Music lineup tomorrow night. Thursday night, Chris Allen. Friday night, Billy Harris. And Saturday, DJ Clarence. Plus, on Sunday, all of your happy hour drink prices are in place the entire day. That's for Saints football as they take on the Raiders. But if you want to get in the Halloween spirit tonight and you got the kids, bring them out to Trunk or Treat tonight at Big Mike's in the parking lot on Aspen Square. Weather's supposed to be fantastic. Be a lot of music, a lot of prizes, a lot of candy for the kids. It's going to be good fun at Big Mike's, where we're kind of a big deal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Sean Salisbury stops by. We'll talk SEC with Peter Burns. The Pels are back on the floor. We'll talk to Graf. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time, your sports break during your lunch break with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Don't forget you can get the podcast daily, 1045ESPN.com, Apple, Spotify. The Hannycast Monday through Thursday. Let's bring in Shay Dixon from On 3. Shay, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well, Charlie. How are you?
Fantastic. I thought this would be a good time with the off week to kind of take an inventory for, the program. I want your thoughts for sure, but recruiting in particular. So let's start with where they are right now and what they need to do to finish as they head into the off week. Kind of give me a thumbnail on what they've got and what they need the most.
Well, they've got 22 commitments and sitting on 3 right now, a top 5 class, number 5 in the country. So you look, though, Charlie, they haven't had a new commitment or decommitment since before the season even began. And I think that was really set up well from the coaching staff, from the personnel side of when they were building the foundation of this team this offseason. Brian Kelly's talked a ton about that, but they were also simultaneously with these recruits getting them in line, not just to commit, but Charlie, so many of the recruits I talked to and their parents, whomever, said, hey, look, we're thrilled with this season because before the season, so much of what the staff talked about was, hey, look, it might not be, this isn't going to be what LSU is going to look like under Brian Kelly every year. We're having to really build a new foundation here, all of these things. So many of these commitments said, man, I expected it to be, like they didn't say this, but, I think their expectation was what Vegas expected, right? That it would be a 6.5, 7-win team, somewhere in there. If you overachieve, you get to 8, and suddenly they're sitting at 6-2. So all of the kids that you kind of got on board that were bought into the future are already reaping the early benefits of being committed to a top 5 class that's got a top 20 team next to its name in the rankings. So I really like just how they put a lot of effort into getting the core of the class done to where there might be 5, 6, 7 more high school guys they sign between now and February, which means you've done all the heavy lifting already.
Let's see if we can get a better connection with Shea Dixon from On3 LSU into their off week, and it's going to mean that for the first time, a lot of the coaches are going to get on the road to see some of the targeted prospects, and that's what I wanted to go with go with Shea with the next question, which is to see exactly where these coaches might be headed. And it was a big recruiting weekend. It was a big visit weekend for Ole Miss, and the time of the game certainly helped. So Shea, let me ask you first to recap kind of what happened for LSU this past weekend with the Ole Miss visits, and then we'll get into where they're heading in the off week.
Yeah, the visits this past weekend were pretty key. They had one official visitor, Dalen Austin out of California, who's been committed, but some West Coast schools and others are trying to flip him. So getting him and his mom onto campus was big, and he was able to sit in the student section and take things in for his first LSU game, which obviously the environment was top notch for a win over a top 10 team. But I look at, and they had a bunch of out-of-state visitors, and I'll give you one, Charlie, Christian Braithwaite, who's committed to Baylor right now as a linebacker. And I'm sure you can guess who does the linebacker recruiting over in Waco. And they had him in this past weekend. He's got an offer, and he's kind of on flip watch right now as LSU looks to add more linebackers. But I'll give you one. Deshaun Womack came down. It was his first college game he's ever attended. He's out of St. Francis in Baltimore, but is one of their top commitments for this class and is an edge guy. He'll end up, I think, a 5-star with multiple recruiting services. But everything went well there. He looks like he's set to sign in December. And I'll circle him, Charlie, as when everyone says, who's the next Will Campbell, Harold Perkins, Mason Taylor, Emory Jones, like who's the guy from this class that's going to come in and potentially start right away and play a lot? I think it's Deshaun Womack. So keep an eye on him. He was one in this weekend that I think that visit went a long way to making sure he stays committed.
It's so interesting to me that a player of that magnitude has never been to a college football game. And I can't imagine that if they were – I'm sorry, but in a Southeastern Conference state, if you are that good of a football player, at some point you've been to a game. But in Maryland, I guess it's a little bit. I mean, I thought they did crab cakes and football up there. He's never been to a college game.
So he plays at St. Francis, which is where Jordan Tolles went to school, who used to be on the team, obviously. But they're kind of an IMG in the sense that they travel a ton to play kind of marquee games around the country, like Texas, Florida, all over. They play a lot of Saturday games. So he was like, look, ever since I became a recruit, I'm always playing all the time. And then this year, obviously, he's kind of really taken off as a recruit and become a top 30 overall player. But when he said that, I was shocked. And we kind of laughed, myself and some other recruiting analysts who were saying, man, you've never been to a college football game, and the first one you're going to go to is Death Valley. That makes it the bar is set a little high now. I don't think he could stroll into any Maryland games and feel like he's having much fun.
No, probably not. Let's talk about how the staff is going to use their resources, where they're going to put people for this weekend, the first and only bye weekend of the year.
Yeah, and Brian Kelly had said earlier in the season, Charlie, that he wasn't going to be sending coaches out on the road nonstop, or each week, before games, whatever. He said focusing on the current team was the plan, and they did that. And I think the plan this week, and we'll hear from Brian Kelly tonight, I'm sure he'll comment on it, but I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you use the game plan, you get some practices in, you take advantage of the extra week you get with the bye. And then Thursday, Friday, and even into Saturday, they'll be all over the country watching high school football games. So checking in at high schools, whether it's commitments, top targets, and then obviously watching games. And that includes, like I said, coast to coast, and not just this class, but next year's class. With one of the kind of marquee guys everyone's watching is Julian Sayin, the number 2 quarterback in the country. And Joe Sloan will be out to see his game this week in California. So kind of all hands on deck here as you split up the bye week between coaching and recruiting.
Give me the Shea Dixon wish list. If you had a wish list and you could take, and realistically, guys that LSU is in on, give me the top 3 or 4 guys. If you could have anybody left on their board, who would you take?
Oh, well, Jay, I was about to say realistic, because when you buy your way into a wish list, you see what happens right now,
I'm
Charlie.
getting to that. I'm getting to
as
that. Just
elsewhere.
hang on a second, okay?
Okay, I'd have Nicholas Harbor, who's going to 5-star defensive lineman / tight end athlete. I mean, he can do it all, and he's a high-level track guy as well. So he's one. He's going to officially visit in December. I think Javian Toviano, who we've talked about a ton out of Texas, is one of the highest-ranked uncommitted guys at DB that's still out there. So he's high on the wish list. Desmond Ricks, who was a 2024 class member, just reclassified to the 2023 class. So that puts him firmly on the radar the rest of the way. And I like a kid, Isaac Smith, a safety out of Mississippi that was in this past weekend. He's another that I think they've got a pretty close eye on and an offer out to. And then I think they need linebackers. So as many as you can get. The Braithwaite kid, if you can flip a Dave Aranda Baylor commitment who's a linebacker, you probably feel good that the eval was solid.
Shay, when things start to go sideways in a program, a lot of times the telltale signs come in recruiting because nothing's a secret out there. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask you how Texas A&M's recruiting is going right now.
I mean, it's probably about to be not going as good as the team is. I think they're almost on a pause of, hey, what's going to happen next? I mean, look, they have the number 15 class in the country. They've got a couple 5-stars committed. And again, their average NIL deals, I mean, everybody else, let's say, would be in the 80K of estimates. They're up in the 150s, and they're not even done putting together that class. So, I mean, look, you hear, Billy Lucci, who I think is about as tight end A&M football and as there is over there, has been very honest about where they are. And it was, this is what you get when you go out there and NIL, all these players from all around the country, and they've empowered them to a bit where the freshman class is kind of a unit that's not even part of the team, is kind of how they've laid it out. And the locker room's divided, and you see what the product's like on the field. And boy, it is not going great. So I'm interested to see if A&M is going to end up losing some commits, if they don't kind of get in down the stretch on some guys. Because I always say, Charlie, I don't think winning and losing each game, each week is the biggest deal. But when you're 3-4 and you were supposed to be a top 10 team, that kind of becomes a deal. And it kind of, for me, I would remind LSU fans, now you're happy where, when everyone was kicking and screaming and saying we're so behind A&M on NIL deals, and then Brian Kelly came in and called out Kayshawn and other players and said they need to buy in and no one's bigger than the program. And one team seems to be heading in one direction and the other is heading in the opposite direction pretty quickly.
So when the basic axiom of recruiting is if you're going well, you promote everything that you're doing. Come here, we're winning. You come be a part of this. You can be a part of a championship team. And if you're not winning, you go to the players and you say, listen, we have playing time. Come over here. We're not winning. We need you to win. So what do you tell a team when you just hauled in this unprecedented class of 5-stars and said, listen, we need you guys to win, and they come and they're still not winning? Then what?
Yeah, well, you keep selling them on it. Look, I don't think A&M's ever going to fall off a cliff with recruiting. I mean, they've got a base in Texas that's big enough for them to consistently recruit well, but they need to be recruiting better in the number 15 class in the country. When you're kind of in the heart of things like that, you've got the money that they do, and now in the NIL era, that's kind of a warning sign right there. So, look, Jimbo gets paid a lot of money to figure out how to fix this one, and the reality is, everybody in College Station is saying it, they decided to go this route where they NIL'd all these players and had an unprecedented class and more 5-stars than anyone in history. And now you're suspending them and they're not playing, and they've divided the locker room. And it's telling you, it's not a great look over in College Station right now. And from talking to people over there, they don't sense it's about to end anytime soon, that the wheels aren't done falling off this season.
Well, he did a little bit of this to himself. The press conference that he called, which I'm as certain as I can be, his PR people, the sports information people that said this is not a good idea, called it himself, went in there and just went scorched earth on everybody that had dared to suggest that they had used NIL as a primary recruiting tool in this class. And now it's kind of coming home to roost on him a little bit. So a lot of this he kind of brought on himself, if you ask me, because that press conference was not the best look for him this past summer.
No, I think without that, you would then just be only focused on, they went out and did this in NIL. It also then turned into the whole debate with Saban. I'm with you. But look, I also don't think you can let Jimbo get away with only saying, hey, man, you did it to yourself in recruiting, because coming out of College Station, everyone's screaming, hire an OC. This isn't working anymore. The Jimbo approach to being the coordinator and being everything on offense isn't working anymore. And look, their defense, you watch it, Charlie, defense ain't bad. Their offense is awful, and the head coach is responsible for it. I think people in Aggieland are just as mad about that as they are kind of upset with how the recruiting class has unfolded in year one.
Hey, they're going to go bring in Joe Brady. You didn't hear? Of course, he can't bring Joe Burrow with him, so that might be a problem. Burrow's got an NIL deal with the Bengals, yes. So I think he's going to be kind of hard to recruit. Shay, take a little time to yourself this weekend, and we'll be back with you before LSU Alabama. Will be a massive game, of course, and a big recruiting weekend. Thanks a lot, my friend.
Yes, I appreciate it, Charlie. Thanks.
Shay Dixon from On 3. Dwayne Colucci from Las Vegas is next. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. You know, so many additions and changes in the Acura line here just in the last several years. All new body styles for the new MDX Type S and the Type S Advanced, turbocharged V6, massaging seats, new color combinations. All new body styles for the 2022 MDX, the 2021 TLX, and the TLX S-Type. The RDX refreshed last year, and the 2023 Integras, the newest, latest, and greatest technology and styling. 2023 model year has 2 years of maintenance included. Family owned and operated. They're going to treat you like family. Transparency in prices is why I'll continue to buy my vehicles from Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience.
College football doubleheader this Saturday. First, the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs face the Florida Gators in their annual rivalry at 2:30 p.m.
Then the Texas A&M Aggies host the Ole Miss Rebels at 6:30 p.m.
It's all right here on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Go out to Las Vegas, South Point and Rampart, and our friend Dwayne Colucci. Colucci, good afternoon, good morning where you are. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well, Charlie. How about yourself?
Fantastic. You know, the 2 days of the football weekend, man, on Saturday, the big favorites, the big chalks were covering. Ohio State covered, Alabama covered, Oregon covered, TCU at a top 20 game, they covered. Man, then you get to Sunday though, and those parlay cards must have taken a beating because the Packers lose as big favorites, the Bucks lose as big favorites, and then if you were hanging on for last night, the Patriots got dusted as big favorites, better than a touchdown favorite last night. So kind of a tale of 2 days this past weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be honest with you, Charlie. We were able to stay afloat on Saturday. So, you know, it was a whole different story on Sunday, though. I mean, you see these big favorites time and time again going down. And also these big quarterbacks that draw a lot of attention. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. You know, Russell Wilson didn't even suit up. So when a lot of these teams start to go down, and these were teams that were predicted to be, you know, somewhat above 500 at this point, you know, and they're not, it really plays into the bookmakers' favors, especially here, you know, in Las Vegas. It definitely helps us. The handle it's been off the hook, I'll be honest with you, Charlie, the last 2 weekends. College 2 weekends ago was amazing handle. This weekend it followed up. You know, we had a solid card. And then the NFL, you know, very difficult for the public to pick these teams. And it's been, you know, a profitable season for bookmakers in Las Vegas.
So I want to ask you about two locals, the Saints and LSU. I know LSU's off this week, but let me start with the Saints because they're playing the Las Vegas Raiders. You're, you know, very much entrenched right there, know a lot about this team. I'll be honest with you, when I figured this line would open with the Saints as a slight favorite just because they were at home. Both of these teams off to a poor start, way below what they thought that they would do this season. So I'm not saying it was a huge surprise, but a mild surprise to me that the Raiders, a 2-4 team and 0-3 on the road, open up as a small favorite. That just shows you how far the Saints have fallen, a 2-point favorite. Tell me your thinking on the Raiders as a slight favorite over New Orleans in the Dome.
Yeah, we have them as a 2.5-point favorite here at the Rampart in South Point, Charlie. You know, we get a lot of Raider action regardless. This is now the home team, similar to the Vegas Knights. I say it time and time again, where people just blindly bet on the Raiders. And, you know, especially coming off, well, you want to call it a flashy victory, but they beat the worst team in the NFL. So how good was that victory? And to tell you the truth, they were in most of the game was Houston. So, you know, I'm not sold on the Raiders. Jacobs has been running like a freight train. That's really helped their offense and starting to turn it around. But Waller is still hurt. You know, he's banged up. Adams and Carr don't seem to be on the exact same page. You know, you would think they'd be a little more in sync at this point of the season, but they're not. And New Orleans, like you said, they're just not playing well. You guys see it firsthand, you know, whether it's Red Rifle, Winston, Taysom Hill. You know, you have this revolving quarterback door. And I did say it on Thursday. I feel they're better off, even if Winston is playing hurt, than putting Andy Dalton out there. And it shows itself. Dalton was a turnover machine this week. I could understand the Raiders in my neck of the woods being a favorite. And we're going to see a lot of Raider money, Charlie. I'll be honest with you. You guys probably down south will see a lot of New Orleans money as a home dog. This is a tough game. I would lay off it, but I might even take the points because I do like a home dog, and definitely the Raiders are not proven, in my opinion, just yet.
The other game we got to wait a week for, but we're starting to see some some lines and stuff out there for LSU and Alabama, who are both off this weekend. The Tigers coming off their biggest win of the season against Ole Miss. Alabama covered easily against Mississippi State. We're expecting that this game is going to open somewhere around 2 touchdowns, maybe a little bit over that when the official lines come out next week. So what are your thoughts on where LSU Alabama might land, or might open, I should say?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's going to be in that 2 touchdown range. I mean, it's still Bama, the Crimson Tide. 7-1 overall. They had a great game against Tennessee. That was a shootout, and they were on the short end of the stick, but they bounced back. Relatively easy victory last week. LSU riding high, like you said, 2 wins in a row now. Big victory over the weekend. 4-1 at home. 2-0 on the road. Definitely LSU could be tough in this game. Alabama is not the same Alabama, in my opinion, but they're still fighting now for, to get back into that playoff run, and they can't slip up, because if they do have 2 losses, it's going to be difficult to make a run at the national title this year, and I think they're behind the 8 ball, so they definitely have to come out with a flashy victory against LSU. I'm not sure if they could do it. It's a lot of pressure on Bryce, so we're going to see how it is. You see Nick Saban, you could be up by 30 points, and the guy's still flipping out late in the game on the sideline. So he demands, top effort, Charlie. You know that. We all have watched Nick Saban now for years and years, one of the best coaches in college history, and he's going to have this team fired up. I don't know if they could cover, though, 2 touchdowns plus.
Now, that'll be a big topic for next week, but I'm already, we're starting to get some people asking about, right after the game this past weekend, hey, what do you think the line will be? Biggest game in college football this weekend might be Ohio State and Penn State. Ohio State looking for somebody to play. It's almost like, okay, the schedule for Ohio State has been so bad. The highlights of what should have been their bigger wins, Notre Dame has fallen off, and Wisconsin fired their coach. So a couple of games where they might have gotten some credit for ordinarily have not been there. Now they play Penn State, and even on the road, Kaluch, they're a 15.5-point favorite. I mean, that thing zoomed past a key number for a team in the top 15. So this is, I guess, the best team Ohio State's going to play this year, and it's still not slowing it down because the Buckeyes have just been a freight train, but we haven't really seen them play anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if we will see them play anybody.
Till
Just
Michigan,
like you said,
yeah.
Yeah, this is it. Penn State, Michigan, these are the top teams that they're going to face. So, 15.5 at the Rampart and South Point. We're taking a lot of Ohio State money on teasers and parlays right now. The straight bets haven't come in just yet, but they've looked impressive. They're 7-0, but definitely they have not played the same quality of opponents as that SEC schedule. Georgia and Tennessee are battle tested. Michigan has had some tussles, so they have to stay consistent winning these games, and they should be able to beat Penn State. I don't think Penn State is all that good. I think they will remain undefeated, number 2 team in the country, and we're going to see a steady stream of money line parlays, teasers, and regular parlays, especially with this game, being 9 a.m. in my neck of the woods here in Las Vegas. So Rampart, South Point, 15.5. I could see it going to 16, 16.5. Maybe not to the key number of 17, but I definitely think we're going to see a lot of Ohio State backing, and it's going to continue on through the season because of the easy schedule, Charles.
Even Penn State, they had the opportunity to use this game as their big promotional whiteout game and said, nope. We'll do that for Minnesota. Make sure we against a backup quarterback. Make sure we get a win. All right, I got to ask you about a statistical first when it comes to point spreads this weekend. In his entire career, Aaron Rodgers has never quarterbacked a double-digit underdog. That's really an amazing statistic when you think about how long he's been in the league, and not one time were they that bad. This weekend, it finally happens. They got to go to Buffalo, and it's really strange to look down and see a team quarterbacked by Aaron Rodgers is an 11.5-point underdog against the Bills.
Yeah, it's huge. I can't believe it. And we did take a little Green Bay action. It is down now to 11 at the Rampart and South Point. Took a little hit from the Sharps. Naturally, you're going to take those double digits. Buffalo looks impressive, though, don't they, Jolly? I mean, they have so many weapons. Stephon Diggs is just a monster. That trade totally made them full circle. And I know they were possibly in the McCaffrey running, but I don't even think they need him. I think Buffalo is probably, the top team in the NFL right now. Chiefs will have something to say about that in the playoffs. I'm looking forward to that rematch. But Buffalo has done nothing wrong so far, whereas Aaron Rodgers has done everything wrong. His team looks mediocre at best. They can't put points on the board. He's not in sync with his young wide receiving core. And like you said, this is a first in the history of Aaron Rodgers' career where he is getting double digits on the point spread. I might take it, though. I'll be honest with you. I think that Rodgers will come out with a chip on his shoulder. He still has a lot of good football left in him, and eventually these kids have to learn, and the team has to rally around LaFleur and his coaching style. But definitely Buffalo is, a top-notch team. It's going to be cold. It's a night game in Buffalo. Not that Rodgers isn't used to it, but Buffalo thrives in these conditions. And Josh Allen is definitely, the front runner for the MVP right now. His team is unbelievable.
Who do you believe in more, the 6-1 Giants or the 4-3 Geno Smith-led, Geno's having a great year, Seattle Seahawks? This two teams that if you had said before the season when they meet late October, the Giants are going to be 6-1, the Seahawks are going to be 4-3. I'd have said absolutely not, but that's what we've got here. So who do you believe in more?
That's a great question, Charlie. I'm a Cowboy guy, so I watched the defense dominate the Giants. I am not sold on this two-pronged running attack of Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. I mean, you're letting Daniel Jones average 10 yards per rush this past weekend, and that can't be done. I mean, this guy's got to be forced to throw the ball, and then definitely you could beat the Giants. They have to watch the Cowboy blueprint. Seattle has been ultra impressive. I mean, Geno Smith has outdone every expectation this year. Nobody thought that, he would even be in the NFL at this point of his career, let alone leading a team to a division lead in the NFC West. So I definitely think Seattle at home is a tough out. We're sitting at 3 at the Rampart and South Point. We're getting good two-way action, total of 45. This is a tough game to handicap. Every time I bet against the Giants, I'll be honest, I'm losing. So I'm going to lay off this game because these are two teams that are an enigma. They're overplaying their odds. They're going to pass and surpass their season win totals. I just can't figure it out. I like Seattle, though, at home. I think they're more than a 3-point favorite when they're playing this well because of that home field advantage and that crowd. But we have to take into consideration Metcalf got carted off the field. That's a huge weapon. They're going to start to get tired, Charlie. I stress this time and time again. They have the most miles traveled in the NFL across the country in the regular season schedule. So when you start losing Penny, you lose Metcalf, it's got to take its toll. Pete Carroll has done an excellent job with this team as well as the Giants coaching staff on the other side of the ball. So this is a coin flip. I'm not going to be betting on this game. I anticipate good two-way action. Maybe even a late push on the Giants, Charlie.
All right, we got about a minute. You got a hockey pick for us? Anything you like tonight?
Oh, yeah, definitely, Charlie. It was great last night at the Fortress. I don't know if you saw my pictures. What an electric atmosphere playing the Maple Leafs. Tonight we have a full slate. I think Montreal has an excellent chance in this game getting, at home 2-1 just because of the fact Minnesota has been giving up a lot of goals. Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki have been fabulous. So you're getting 2-1 at home. Minnesota is minus 2-1 at the Rampart and South Point tonight, and you're in the Bell Center. So I like Montreal's chances. I also think that the Rangers and Colorado are going to be a very tight checking game. So, even with Filipino going down for the Rangers, I think that game could go under the 6.5. We have it shaded minus 125 on the under at the Rampart. So I definitely think that's going to be a physical battle. Shesterkin will bring his A game, especially in the Garden. So I like under there. It's a pick 'em on the point spread, basically 110 each way. at the Rampart and South Point. Definitely the Vegas Golden Knights tonight as well. I think they could win on the road in San Jose. You're going to see Aiden Hill in between the pipes. Logan Thompson played last night. Knights really played well. I think they definitely are going to turn the corner. Jack Eichel's going to light the lamp tonight. He didn't score last night, but I think he could definitely impose his will. Mark Stone has looked good. The defense isn't too bad. Peter Angelo, Martinez, those guys. I like the Vegas Golden Knights for 2 in a row in a back-to-back situation. So there's a few picks for you, Charlie.
Thank you, my friend. Canadians, Knights, and the Avs Rangers under. Clutch, you the best, man. We'll talk to you Thursday night.
Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate you having me on.
Dwayne Colucci from the South Point and the Rampart. We'll take a break, come back with some of your questions. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Yeah, all of your problems with staffing these days, and there's plenty of them. You got to do interviews. You got to do background checks. You got to take care of payroll expenses. And look, this is when you can get people to show up. I mean, if you're scheduling like half a dozen interviews in a day, you say, I'm going to knock this out, and maybe only half of the people or less than half of the people show. Tiger Labor and Staffing, they'll take care of all of this for you. Let you get back to work, man. Take care of your screening, your training, your payroll, all of your employment expenses. Tiger Labor and Staffing handles the interview process and the onboarding. Whether you need somebody for a day, a week, or a month, you can control your labor expenses. You increase your flexibility. Listen, we're getting into the holiday seasons. A lot of seasonal workers during those peak seasons. Tiger Labor and Staffing can help you. They'll lower your employment risk. An attempt to hire option is only 60 days. That's the lowest in the industry. Tiger Labor and Staffing, welcoming skilled and unskilled labor. They'll match you with a job that fits. Quick turnarounds on pay. Tiger Labor and Staffing, success begins with the eye of the tiger.
Professional golfers John Peterson and J.J. Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in
Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
A few questions out of the chat. Brad says, ask Hanny, do you think Jimbo is still a great play caller? No. Right now, Jimbo is not a great anything. I love the way he called plays when he was here, and I like the way he called plays for a long time. Right now, the offense is antiquated, so no, not anymore. Ask Hanny, do you think Dabo will eventually replace Saban at Alabama? I do not. I think that is a maybe the toughest spot to move into. I mean, you got all the resources, but my goodness. I mean, when Bryant passed away, he retired and then he passed away. It took him a decade to get right. I mean, it's just going to be really tough to replace that guy. Ask Hanny, why is the Mississippi River drying up? I'm no scientist, but it would help if it rained. That's not the only reason. I know, things that are happening up north and all that, but if it would rain, wouldn't be the worst thing. Hunting Hill is next from all of us here in the studio. I'm Charles Hannegriff saying thank you and good afternoon. It's been Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. You know what? The Alabama game going to be one of the biggest tailgate events, well, certainly of the year, maybe of a lot of years. So if you're making plans for your tailgate, make them with Supreme Rice. Hey, stop by the Rouses at Burbank and Lee. Pick up your Supreme Rice on your way into campus. We'll be doing pregame there. Your jambalayas, your red beans, your stews. You want to make some gumbo? See if the weather's cooling up a little bit here in a week and a half. Make it with Supreme Rice. Easy to get all your AG food stores, and you're going to stretch your food dollar and enjoy a delicious product while supporting our Louisiana farmers. So whether it's the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, or the jasmine, make it Supreme Rice for your next meal, your family gathering. For more information and some unique recipes, go to the website at SupremeRice.com.